you, Aneeshwar. Are you ready to take some questions?
I'm so ready.
Oh, born ready, love it. So first, I guess if we want to start in the audience, if anyone has any questions that are coming to mind for Aneeshwar now, or any coming on soon, go ahead.
Hi Aneeshwar, my name is Matt, and I have a 1-year-old son named Max, and I love seeing that one of your goals and dreams is to inspire more children, and I was wondering if you had recommendations on how I can raise my son to inspire him more to, not take nature for granted and want to make changes in the world.
So well, it's actually quite easy to make a change. All you got to do is just get your little son out in nature more. And it's really good that you're starting it from a young age, because I think he'll become a nature know-how very soon if not. So all you got to do is just get him out in nature, try and make him so he can find beautiful wildlife, like ospreys we can see over here, and blue jays. He'll really get into it, and that's the advice I like to give to you.
Oh, thank you.
I actually have a quick follow-up question to that, if that's okay. Would you say where you grew up and where you're from kind of helped establish your love for nature? And if so, what advice would you give to kids that maybe don't live near a lot of animals or near a lot of nature?
Well, I actually lived in the UK, which didn't have any blue jays and no ospreys that are that very easy to see. But well, all I'd done was find all of the native wildlife, like the bats, the squirrels, and lots more, and that just brought me in. It's like they would put a line around me and they were just pulling me into nature. And it finally worked. They pulled me into nature. And that's what I think. You all just need to let nature drive you away from all of your stress, and then it just turns magical.
Okay.
Thanks, Aneeshwar. Aside from your passion about nature, which is incredible, I'm also really impressed by your public speaking, which a lot of people would say is their biggest fear in the world. But you've obviously overcome that fear. How have you approached this role in speaking to the public?
Well, actually, I'm not actually scared of being in front of the stage. It's like, that's my happy place. I said it when I was at BGT, and it's like, it's more comfortable than just, like, that is my soul, just standing in front of the stage and looking at everybody.
And so you've had very cool experiences going. You were just at Kennedy Center last night.
I know.
You had your own show, 6 Ways to Save the Planet.
Yeah.
And so out of all of these experiences you've had, what's been your favorites thus far?
Well, I think you already said it, and it's 6 ways to save our planet. Because, well, we managed to go to lots of parts of Britain, and it was just amazing. I also really liked Frank Britain. It was, like, amazing how we were planting trees, making a little meadow. It was just so nice. I loved it.
Is there anything you hope that big conservation organizations like WWF could do for the planet?
Well, I think all you got to do is just get ways to just draw children and adults into wildlife, and that is a big difference. And then the magic starts to happen.
I just thought of another question, Aneeshwar. Why do you think it's so important for kids like you to get involved?
So, well, it's just like the next generation. Imagine if the first generation loved wildlife and the next generation lost that balance again. We need to make sure all of our generations love the wildlife, and that's why I think we should always get children involved in nature.
That was a great answer. I don't know if anyone else in the room is also wondering, but I'm curious. The favorite animal that you mentioned, the falcon,
Yeah?
how did that become your favorite animal?
So, well, it started to become my favorite animal because I heard about how fast it went. Previously, it was 200 miles per hour, but that was because it was in higher altitude. But now it's actually researched that is 180 miles an hour. And that's one thing I really love about it. Its speed and how mysterious it can be.
It sounds pretty cool. I don't know much about it. Maybe you can teach me later.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you mentioned really wanting to see the Amazon rainforest one day, right?
Yeah, I know.
If there's an animal that you really want to see in the wild one day, what would it be?
Like, that is really, really, really hard. I think I'd choose the giant red rotter, the arapaima, the hummingbird, the bee hummingbird, or the mango hummingbird, and maybe the rock boa.
To name a few.
Have you ever seen your favorite animal, the peregrine falcon, before?
I've actually seen it on a nature walk. Like, I couldn't see it because it was like very, very far away. I was on like a lamppost, like it was on an electrical stand, but it was marvelous. And someone actually said it was a female, and obviously he was older than me because I couldn't tell the difference. But it was actually about the size of the fact. The bigger, because normally with birds of prey, the biggest one is the female, and the smallest one is the male. That's a fact.
Any other questions in the room?
Hi, Aneeshwar. I'm Francesca. My question to you, if there was one action item that you would want everyone listening to you right now today to do after this call and take away and do after this meeting, what would your action item be for us?
Well, I think it's just something really simple, which I think all of you can do. Litter picking. Because even though it's a small thing, it's a big difference. Because just imagine, there's a tiny little thread, and there was a bird. It came down and taken it for its nest. The chicks might eat that string, and then they might die. But I'm thinking that if we had picked up that little string, that would have saved the little chick's life. So I think litter picking is a big thing, and we should do that.
I think another question that I thought of, kind of similar to some of the other questions that have been asked already, but if you could, like, what do you think is one thing that adults don't understand very well? That, like, if you could have a microphone that reached every adult in the world, what would you tell them?
So, well, sometimes you actually should listen to your kids. And actually, they actually have a wider imagination than you actually think. And sometimes you just get carried away with your work. And like, you'll draw away from the wildlife sometimes. But sometimes you just need to draw away from your work and just go into the wildlife. That's how you actually get to understand how your children's point of view. And then it's like, you might think one thing isn't correct, but when you actually get to do that, it is correct. So sometimes all you got to do is just go into the interest of your child and sometimes actually draw it into wildlife. And that's how you actually get a good child and understand how you can save our planet even better.
That's like the mic drop. Dana, do you have any other questions?
So we talked a little bit about your favorite animals and some of the animals that you want to see. I'm wondering about your favorite landscapes and the kinds of habitats that you've been to and what's been your favorite amongst those.
Well, I think I actually really like the sand dune habitat. I've been to them once and they're just spectacular.
First off, I thought that poem was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Second, I know that since you've been on Britain's Got Talent, you've probably gotten to talk with some really cool, influential people about animals and wildlife and nature. Who has been kind of like the most influential or most impactful person you think you've gotten to speak to about nature? Because I think that your voice holds a lot of weight.
Steve Batchel. So he's like my hero and he's making Deadly 60, Deadly Dinosaurs, DIY Deadly, and well, lots more. And he is an amazing guy. And I'm actually going to meet him very soon. And I am really excited about that because he is a mind-blowing guy. He really is. And he's amazing. Like his documentaries, they're just so impacting. Like they talk about 60 deadly creatures from all the world, and he actually says that some of them are actually endangered and some are actually misunderstood. Just like the tigers, because actually they're just like going because they need to protect themselves and they actually fear humans. Because as a fact, we hunt them for their fur. And even great white sharks. Did you know that people kill more sharks than sharks kill people? So there's nothing for us to be afraid about sharks, but sharks have something to be afraid about us. That's why I think Steve Batchel is not only like has entertaining programs, he has programs which really have a meaning to them, really have like a thought to them, and really have an impact.
You had said that you really want to meet Sir David Attenborough. What are you going to say to him when you meet him?
So like I'm gonna ask, how has like the world changed since you were a little kid? And then that'll build up into a big conversation, and lots of things will be happening in that, like big questions and lots of things like that.
So when did you start writing poetry?
Actually, I've written a poem at very young ages, like 4 to 5. I think it was actually a poem about oak gall dye, and I've actually drawn with oak gall. It's amazing. Like all you got to do is get some oak galls, which are basically wasp nests, but way smaller, and then just put them in water and just leave it for a couple of weeks, and then it just makes a dye, and then just paint with it. It makes a beautiful brownish colour, and it's amazing for lots of creatures. Like you can draw wedge-tailed eagles with it, like I did, and lots more creatures.
Hi, my name is Olivia, and my question goes back to kind of a similar vein to what a couple people asked earlier. And one day I'd like to be a mother, and I'd like to raise my children to love nature. And so I don't have a kid yet that I could bring out, like as he said, and then let them see nature. But I'm curious about how you've interacted with other children and how you've maybe inspired your friends, and what some of the activities you do are when you're out in nature, maybe with your friends or people around your age.
So well, actually, the way that I inspired all my friends is like, I just do my thing. I've gone out on TV and like, they've seen me and they thought that actually we should save the planet as well. Just like some of my friends actually got straight into it. Like, I don't mean like small things. They are just doing amazing things. They even said to me, they're actually gonna make posters about saving the planet. And they even showed me one. And well, I have some other friends who are really obsessed with wildlife and they just love it. They are just lovely. They love wildlife just like me. And like we're best friends as well. And well, just a way to get everyone out into the wildlife. It's just like saying, come on, let's go for a little walk. And like they'll come with you and then you might actually see some really cool wildlife and they'll like interact then. Does that solve your question?
Yeah, I've been worried, like a lot of kids when I was growing up, they wanted to play video games or watch TV or do like a lot of indoor things, and I was somebody who loved to go outside. So it's cool that you and your friends like to talk about nature and like to go out in nature, and I think maybe if that's the kind of people that my kids surround themselves with, then, well, my future kids, then they would, they would have a similar experience. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and one way, if your friends are like an indoor friend, maybe just like bring them out and just let them meet new people. Like just bring them out alone and then I was like, it also would have the same power. Like just interact with them as well. And that solves both of your questions. So any more questions now?
Aneeshwar has some questions for us. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah. Firstly, why did you choose the panda as the logo?
He's looking at me for this. So the panda logo was inspired by a panda named Chi Chi from the London Zoo back in 1961 when WWF was first founded. So it was actually kind of inspired by a real panda.
Wow, that's actually quite nice. Yeah, as well.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, and as well, did you know it actually fits very well with it because pandas are also in the red list of extinction, and like I think it actually gets people together and try to save these gorgeous creatures with like one thumb, which is just like a little lump. That's its superpower. Has a lump over there as its thumb, and it can grasp bamboo like a karate master. I love Planet Earth and Blue Planet. Is there any way that children can get involved in these great documentaries?
I might turn the question around to you, Aneeshwar, because you were in your own documentary, weren't you?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Maybe they just recognized me. So I think that's actually how you can do that.
So you just answered your own question.
But if anybody in the audience has other suggestions, we'll gladly take them.
Can you imitate some sounds? Oh yeah. I can imitate sounds. And I can actually get really nice sounds of my favorite bird, the peregrine falcon. And would you like to hear that?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I also do the bald eagle with that. Like, it's still a bit rusty, but I'm getting there. Like, yeah, I've been doing it for such a long time. Like, I can even do the bald eagle. I can do the pigeon. I can also get a bit more furry with stuff. I can do the tiger and lion. I'll start with the lion, which is actually surprisingly a bit more common than you'd actually think it is. And the tiger. And let's get a bit more prehistoric with stuff. Let's hear the velociraptor. So any more questions like from anyone online or any questions on YouTube?
No, but thank you so much for everything and for being here. I think we all took something away from this, and it's been a pleasure. So will you stick around and sign some autographs?
Oh, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I hope you keep coming back to make sure we're doing our work well, okay?
I definitely.
Check up on us.
Yeah.